I hope you're all having an amazing day. In this video, I want to talk to you guys about probably the most important tool when it comes to trading that unfortunately gets the least amount of effect, I think, or least amount of attention. And to be quite honest, is taught in a very boring way. What I'm of course talking about is our very basic candlesticks. And the reason that I want to really dive deep into candlesticks today is because of the behavior, the behavior of the candlesticks in the UK session changeover to US yesterday. And this was a update that I had done on YouTube before it actually happened. And then I did an update after that video was posted on my Twitter here, talking about a level, if it's going to load, here we go. Talking about this, this area of interest here that I wanted to see Bitcoin hold at if we were to have continuation to the upside, and also Ethereum here on the right side. Now, I want to get into detail about that. Before I do, if you guys are here, returning here, welcome. If you're from the community, what's up, legends? I'm just going to have a quick look who I've got here in the chat. Tom, how you doing from USA? Heading over to Sicily soon. That will be fun. Who else have we got? Faith, how you doing? Larissa, the visionary. Good afternoon from Malta. Elvis from Miami, and who else? Oh, Larissa's from Texas. This is awesome. I feel like this time that I'm on at the moment is actually a pretty good time zone for everyone. We've got the Aussies getting ready for bed. We've got UK winding down, and we've got US just waking up. Wow, Blair from Lebanon. That is so cool. Thank you guys for being here. Now, if you didn't happen to catch yesterday's update, I want to just very, very quickly go over it for the purpose of teaching you how to get really good entries at session changeovers, because if you've been watching this channel for a while, you will know that session changeovers, which is when the Asia session ends and UK starts, there's a half-hour gap, and also when UK ends and US starts, there's a half-hour gap. Those times right there are the best times to get your entries on trades. And you know, failing that during a session is also good, but end of session is very, very bad. And this here gave us the perfect session changeover entry, and I want to talk about it because on yesterday's video, before this had happened, what I was talking about was the UK burst, which is, it happens at 8 a.m. New York, or around 8 a.m. New York, and it finishes out the UK session, and it leads into the US. So it's basically a setup for the US. But the thing is, it can present a lot of ways. So when you're trading, you will have a setup and a trigger, right? So when you're setting up, the price action hasn't played out yet to the point where you would actually take the entry. Where you would take the entry is the trigger. So when you're doing a setup, it's just an idea of what you think might happen. And then if it does happen that way, you'll have your trigger to enter. Or if you get good enough and fast enough at trading, you can see when your setup is not the right setup, and you can quickly pivot if you can recognize what the real setup and what the real trigger is going to be. So in yesterday's video, I talked about two options. I won't go into them in detail, but one of them was that the UK session bursts to the downside, and then US starts to create a lower high. And if that were to happen, we would expect continuation to the downside. Obviously, we didn't get that one. We got the other option, which was the burst to the upside. But I want to talk about this because at the time that Bitcoin was coming down, there could have been, out of this consolidation in UK, there could have been a time where you may have believed that this little move up here to the upside was fake move week beginning, which we know happens on Mondays, and that we were actually going to head down, because we did reject at the 200 EMA quite a number of times. Now, the reason why I say this was the perfect setup is because what I want you to get used to, what is really going to help your trading more than literally anything else you can learn, is learning to understand the behavior of the market makers within the candlesticks. So the very reason that I pivoted from thinking this, if it bursts to the downside and gives us a lower high, we're going down, the very reason that I pivoted from that to this Twitter post where I said, if it holds here, I expect continuation to the upside. And as you can see, that area of interest is right where that hammer is. Now, that area of interest was drawn after the hammer. And the reason for that is because it was a beautifully delicious retracement to the downside, followed by a high volume green hammer literally at the start of the gap between UK to US. So UK had closed, it was handing over to the US. This is the kind of entry you want, and that also meant that it created a higher low compared to the W formation. And then you can also mark out the closest vector that you can find, which was this green one, and your stop loss just goes underneath that. So you could not have got a better second chance entry. If you didn't happen to get an entry off the W, this second chance entry was just such a good entry. But then once that happened, before I say that, besides it being a high volume green candle, you have to watch the speed at the time. So what was happening here, and you got to understand how the market maker tricks you. So notice how before that green hammer, we got this red, pretty scary looking candle. That also came with speed and a little bit of volume too. But here's what they're doing. They're making you believe 200 EMA rejection multiple times, break the range, give us some speed. And the problem is most people will react off that speed. So they'll open a short position before that candle even closes because they think, there we go, that's the 200 EMA rejection. It's now moving away. We're going down, and they open a short position. And then immediately the very next candle, because you got to remember this red candle right here was the end of UK. So it was the UK market maker taking profit and setting up for US. That is why you never, ever, ever enter a trade at the end of a session, because the end of the session is where the biggest games are being played. It's the profit taking and the setup for the next market maker. You wait for that session to close. And as you can see, the second it closed, now you can see how it was a setup. UK finished to the downside. Literally as that session closed, we got this beautiful, delicious green hammer, which created a higher low, which set up for US to push to the upside, right? So, and not only that, if we mark out the 50% of the Asia range, which is just the lowest point that price went during Asia to the highest point that price went during Asia, and then you just mark out 50% of that range here, usually at some point during the UK session or the US session on the same day that follows that, price will return to that 50% mark. And look here, the hammer is right on the 50% mark. You can't make this shit up. It's like so accurate that I don't even know what to say. I want to say something smart, but I got nothing. So there you go, right? But it was just the most perfect session changeover entry, and they're not always that easy. So that's why I really wanted to go into detail on this video about it for the sake of learning. And then I also want to talk about what happened after that, because we then got our next rise here that shot right up to the 800 EMA, right into the area of interest, exactly everything that we expected would happen. And then price did a full return here in the next candle. Now this morning, I asked the tribe in the Discord to be honest about whether this candle here freaked you out of a good trade and made you exit your trade. And some people were honest and said yes. And that is completely fair because you're still on your learning journey, and that is designed to look like a very big, scary red candle at the time that is going to do a full recovery. And if you got an entry and let's just say you are up a couple percent and all of a sudden in another candle looks like you're going to come back to break even, you want to take what you can. But what you've got to understand is that completely ruins your trade plan. You have to learn to commit to your trades. And if you can't handle seeing a candle that goes against your trade like that after you've entered, you need to enter your trades and close your computer. It's the only way you're going to get over your FOMO. You enter your trade, you set an alert at your take profit, wherever that is, and that's it. You walk away from it. Because if you were one of those people that exited because of this red candle and did not actually get back in, then look what you missed out on today, right? You missed out on a very big move to the upside. So the thing about this red candle is you've got to understand in the US session, there's going to be volatility. Unless your initial entry is invalidated, there's no reason to exit a trade. So what would have invalidated this? Only a break below that hammer. And even with this huge red candle, it didn't break below that hammer. So there really was no reason other than fear of losing money or not making as much money as you thought you would. And that's not a reason, that's an excuse, very different thing. There is no reason why if you got this hammer entry or even the W down here, there was no reason why you should exit that trade on this red candle. Not to mention, how can you not look at that and understand that that is pure manipulation, because the candle immediately closed back up 50% with a wick. So, you know, it's very, very obvious play, and then kind of dwindled around for the rest of US and nothing else happened. So, yeah. So the main thing is during session changeovers, it's not so much about, will it create an M or a W? Those are part of the setup, but the trigger is watching the speed in the candle. And you do that on lower time frames, 15 minute, 5 minute, if you can handle a 5 minute. But I tell you what, there is no amount of time that you can spend learning to read the speed in candles that won't help you. No amount of time. You could get rid of absolutely everything else, but if you really spend your time just learning speed in candles, you will learn to understand what the market maker is doing, because a fast move is a false move. A fast move is designed by a market maker. No person, no retail trader can bring enough money into the market to shoot price up that much in a small period of time in the same 15-minute candle. You can't. You can ring 100 of your friends and all go long at the same time, and it's not going to move price like this. Only a market maker can move price like this. So you have to see what they're doing in the session changeovers when the speed comes in, when the volatility comes in, especially if you want to trade the US time zone. You have to be prepared for these kind of whipsaw things. You have to be prepared for that, and you have to be prepared for that speed to really pick up during the UK to US session changeover. So following on from that, obviously Asia gave us our next rise today, and we came straight for the liquidation level. Now, we talked about this level on Sunday's update at 27,403. That was our first condition. Now I'm going to get rid of these because I want to zoom out and I want to show you these three levels that we talked about, which was 27,403, 27,531, and 28,071. So if you didn't happen to catch Sunday's video, on Sunday I did a deeper dive into the higher time frame price action, which is showing us here on the daily time frame. It's showing us here, sorry, let me just zoom out on that. It's showing us here the W formation, rise, retrace, rise, currently building a wedge. And what I had mentioned on that video was that the wedge is not yet confirmed because it needs a fifth touch to the top of the wedge. Then it will be a confirmed wedge. So price hasn't hit there yet, but on the way to getting there, there were those three liquidation levels. We've now hit the first one at 27,403, and it's also a pretty major resistance on the 1 hour time frame. So now we really need to see if it's going to be able to break through that to get to the 27,531 first, then to the 28,071. If it does all of that, that is going to be our 1 hour time frame rise level 3. And let me show you that right here. If I zoom in on this part of the current week. So we know we've had 3 rises on the 15-minute time frame. This is now the 1 hour time frame. We've had 1 rise here and 2 rises here. So it's very possible that a third rise could get us up somewhere close to this zone. Now, it may not actually take out that 28,071 because we do have a bit of a roadblock right now with the heat map orders are showing shorts at 27.8. Let's just see if they're still there. They are. So see here, we've got, 1.1K orders at 27.8, and that's been pretty consistent over the last, 12 hours, let's say. So that's where bears are looking to short Bitcoin if it does push up to there. I do like that we have fairly, I wouldn't call it high, but it's nice orders at 27.2, trying to, I guess, not let Bitcoin drop too much further below that right now. They're not necessarily enough to cause a bounce, but they're there and they're decent. And we do have, very aggressive bulls wanting to buy at 26.8. Now 26.8 is all the way down here, so it's going to be a full recovery of these 3 candles. That's possible. It's possible. It's not likely, but it's possible. So what I'd be looking for now is for either Bitcoin to continue with a board meeting, and look, it's probably going to suck if US gives us a board meeting the whole day because we might not get our level 3 till Asia tomorrow. But, that's the way it is. Or US will give us that third level 3. And I'd be looking for somewhere under the 27.8 because that also comes back to the high of the week, which is the 27.666. I didn't want to say that number. And the 800 EMA. I was trying to think of ways quickly to avoid saying 666. But anyway, here we are. So there we go. Those are the kind of levels. So anywhere between that 27,650 to 27.8 is what I'd be looking for a rise 3. And I would not worry if price pulled back now. Even if it pulled back for the whole of US, if it just ran a slow kind of, not exciting trend to the downside, I wouldn't worry because it's still above the 50 EMA and above the yesterday's high of the day. So around that level, which is between, say, 27 to 27,150-ish kind of area, it's still going to create a higher low. It would only mean it's coming back to recover this vector candle here and part of this blue one here. So I wouldn't really worry about any of that. And you've also got to expect it because now the 15-minute time frame has finished its 3 rises, right? So 15-minute time frame has had a rise here, and a rise here. If you were only trading the 15-minute time frame, you would be out of your long right now. So if you are holding on to a long, it's because you believe it's going to feed up into the 1 hour time frame. Are you wrong or are you right? We'll find out, and no one can answer that for you. You have to figure that out for yourself. But, you take into account, I say it all the time, the patterns, the levels, the timing. So does the timing make sense to reverse? Does the pattern make sense to reverse, etc., etc.? Now, this does look like a nice M formation. We don't have a stopping volume candle because we don't have high volume in that candle, but it is a fairly decent inverted hammer. And then we have a second side M with a bearish engulfing. But, again, ask yourself where you are in the higher time frame trend. And if you were to short that, is it going to be a trade that is worth it risk to reward wise, knowing that price may only come back to here? Now you go draw your short position on. You have to have your stop loss above that stop hunt right there. Otherwise, you just are practicing bad risk management, and like, why are you on this channel? But anyway, and your target down here at the 800. So you've only got a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Like, we don't get out of bed for that, right? So yes, the 15 minute is looking like an M formation, but we expect that because it's had 3 rises. And if you are wanting to take the weekly setup, now a weekly setup usually runs over 3 days for 3 levels, and it usually starts late Monday sessions or Tuesday morning. So this does follow the rule because we had this rise here at US on Monday. So that follows the rule to be the swing setup, and we've had 2. And if you're trading the swing, you would expect a retracement, sorry, a retracement now before we get our rise level 3. But just bear in mind, it is a risk because when you zoom out, there are many times that price has not been able to break this level. So as long as it's creeping down at slow speed and slowly recovering some of these vectors, you would then believe that's just a retracement to move up. If it starts moving down with speed over the US changeover, then that's where you start going, this might be a reversal, and you consider taking some profits on your long. Now, let me have a look at Ethereum. Let me just expand this out. Did I draw on this? Yes, I did. Now, before I get into Ethereum, by the way, guys, if you are looking for somewhere to trade and you exchange to trade on, be sure to check out OKX. We do have a deal going on at the moment for a limited time only, exclusive for TTC members. You can grab the link from the description of this video for your chance to unlock up to $30,000 in rewards, and you also get an ongoing 15% discount on your fees. So be sure to check that out, as well as the other links. There's my whole trading toolbox is down there, which gives you links to all this stuff here that I use, high block, etc., and also details on how to join us in the community if you're wanting to learn this in more detail. So with Ethereum, we had a real delicious push up, and look how that wick went right into the liquidation zone that was at 1872. So that's gone now. So what I want to do, and so is this area of interest, it came exactly back to the area of interest that we marked out on yesterday's video as well. So just an absolute delicious play. And what I want to do now is just see where the other liquidation levels are on this one. So let's go to, won't go to that one. Let's go here, change this to ETH. And let's just see what we've got going on here. While that's doing that, I'm going to just have a look at the chat, see if there's anything going on there. And he put the devil's number, we're all doomed. Hey from Melbourne. Hey, Mark. Oh, this chat isn't moving. Yes, thank you, Kat. Don't forget to smash the like button if you have learned something in this video, and consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. It really does mean a lot to me. It costs you nothing, takes you 1 second, and it really does incentivize me to keep putting out this type of content. They've manifested the candle the wrong way. You guys are funny. I swear Addie is the MM. She's just trolling us now, explaining it while it's happening live. I wasn't even looking. We'll have a look at the changeover in a second. Yeah, would have changed. We're in the changeover for UK to US right now. But let me just have a look at this quickly. Some ETH levels that are important. So we've got 1,880 to the up. Sorry, 1,880 to the upside, 1,899 to the upside. Let's see where that would put us. 1 second. 1,880. And then what did I say the other one was? 1,000. Let me just double check it. 899. 1,899. If I zoom, yeah, I'll say on the 1 hour. Yeah, that's going to be right into this vector candle right here. So I do like that. If ETH has continuation to the upside, I do like that it's probably going to come in for these liquidation levels next. And also, by the way, if we zoom out on the daily, and that does happen, don't mind the moon candles, but look here, if it comes up for those two levels, again, it's going to be that fifth touch to the daily time frame wedge. So yeah, liking it a lot. Now, let me just go back now that we are in the session changeover right now and have a look at gap price action. So where did UK close? So UK closed here. So see again, UK session is setting up for the US market maker. They've dropped it to the downside. We almost had a repeat of the behavior because Asia ran the trend yesterday. UK consolidated and set up for US. Then US did continuation with some high volatility. Today we've had Asia run the trend. UK consolidated. Now, we don't usually have these session behavioral shifts unless there's a bank holiday, and there isn't one. So I'm putting this down to potentially jump trading has pulled their funds out of the US and they've moved it to the Asia market. So it could be that short term this is causing behavioral shifts and Asia's actually the better time frame to trade. And doesn't that suck when I've just left the country? and now I'm on the other side of the world asleep during Australia. Of course we get the price action when I'm asleep. That's just so not fair. But anyway, here we are. At least I could trade US and it's exciting still. So yeah, guys, it's almost looking like a repeat. I would be looking, look, you've even got this hammer right on the close of UK, but you don't want it on the close of a session. You want to see what happens in this little gap as it changes over. There's 18 minutes right now until the US starts. So in the next 18 minutes, you want to be looking for bullish candlesticks, especially if they hold that 50 EMA. That's going to be really good because it just shows all we had here was a board meeting. So yeah, really watch for that. I would actually probably wait for US to start on this one if you don't get a very, very obvious bullish candlestick in the gap, because we may retrace more. So and US might be the one to do that. So US might want to bring price back to the high of the day potentially before it then shifts out. So yeah, I would say entries are going to be within the first hour of the US session today. Those are my thoughts, and there you go. High block liquidation below price. We're not in the right frame. We're not in the right part of the model to worry about the liquidations below price, in my opinion. So until the structure changes, I'm not really worried about liquidation levels below price. The only way would be if US started and broke the 50 EMA to the downside, retested it and stayed below, then maybe, but even still, it depends on the speed, because if it breaks that in a really slow way and it's just a slow retest, then I'm going to believe that this is just a 15-minute 3-level drop that's not going to be a huge one before continuation to the upside to give us the 1 hour rise 3. But if it comes with speed, then this move to the upside is over, and we have to be prepared for the model to only play out on the 15-minute time frame, simply because of what I said before with these, this being a very, very key area at this point in time. But yeah, keep an eye on those candles. Practice exactly what we talked about here. Look for the speed. There's no speed yet, right? Like, we're in the gap right now, 16 minutes left. The speed hasn't come. That means US is going to do it. So I hope that was helpful, guys. I don't want to go on for too long. I want to get off so that you guys can actually get your entries. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, leave me a comment down below, hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and don't forget to grab the links for OKX and our community if you are wanting to join us over there. I'll see you guys on the next one.